This is Georgia Southern Football 90, featuring the defending NCAA National Champion, Georgia Southern Eagles. This program is brought to you by Team Vaden Isuzu. We are the competition. And by Atlantic Cellular. It's for you, Savannah. Now here's your host, Bill Edwards, and Georgia Southern University head football coach, Tim Stowers.
Evening again, everyone. Welcome to the Idaho game. And, Tim, I guess it could be worse. I'd rather be here than out there.
Well, sure. I'd rather be playing the friendly confines of Paulson Stadium, Glenn Bryant Field, than in Moscow, Idaho. You know, when you say Moscow, Idaho to Statesburians and people in South Dakota, that kind of sounds like another country.
They probably don't know where we are either, though, right?
They probably don't.
Tell us a little bit about what we know about these guys. A Big Sky Conference always comes in here big, just like their name, but everybody might be kind of lulled to sleep after what we did to Montana last year.
Idaho has the most prolific offense in 1AA football. They have the #1 rusher in the country, Devon Pierce. They have the #1 pass receiver in the country, Casey Dunn. They have the #1 quarterback in passing efficiency, Steve Nolan. And they're the highest scoring machine. They're an offensive machine in 1AA football. They're scoring 38.8 points per game.
You have to be pleased with the, if anybody was wondering about the playoff state of mind, last week's game against the Citadel, that's the first time they've been shut out in 4 years.
Well, our players are really in the right state of mind last week, and really more than anything at this time of football season, it's probably a state of mind more than coaching, maybe more than ability. It's just the state of mind that we were in. After all, hey, Citadel beat South Carolina 38-35, and how can you explain that they do that and Georgia Southern shuts them out 31-0? All it is a state of mind, Bill.
Well, let's hope we have that state and that Idaho goes back to their state. We're watching the semifinals.
We're fortunate enough to be able to just play one more time, and if we're in the right state of mind, maybe we can play just one more time again. But this is the most important football game Georgia Southern's ever played because it's the next one this Saturday, Glenn Bryant Field, 12:30.
Okay, we'll see you with the first half highlights of the game with the Vandals right after this. A beautiful football afternoon, and there were signs everywhere this would be a good game. No doubt the Eagles were fired up, but two of the division's 1AA top-scoring teams did little scoring in the first quarter. In fact, the most prolific offense, which belongs to Idaho, didn't score at all. The Vandals were forced to punt after only 3 plays, and Rodney Oglesby managed to squeeze through 2 defenders for a 9-yard run that got the crowd on its feet. And so the Eagles began like it was going to be just another day at the office, with a pitch to Joe Ross, good for 14 yards around the left side and a first down at the Idaho 44. Raymond Gross got 7 more to the 37. But 2 more plays lost a yard, and gambling early, David Kuhl came in to attempt a 55-yard field goal. And though David had the potential and the wind, it came up a yard or 2 short. Meanwhile, the Vandals began to sack, pillage, and burn their way through a proud Georgia Southern defense. Quarterback Steve Nolan, doing a Joe Montana impression that could have fooled even Joe himself, connected for 13 yards to flanker Chris Taylor. Then wide receiver Yo Murray for 12 more yards, down to the Eagles' 34. But when Paul Sickley dropped Steve Nolan for a 5-yard loss to bring about 3rd and 13, it only seemed to make him mad. A rocket strike to tight end Scott Dahlquist, who was unbelievable Saturday, was the target for 23 yards. Then we heard from the Division IAA's leading rusher, Devon Pierce. 7 yards to the GSU 7, but Pierce came up limping on the play, and we would see little of him the rest of the afternoon, which turned out to be bad news for Georgia Southern. More on that later. On 3rd and 2, Roman Carter, in for the injured Pierce, got zilch when Tim Brown fought off a block to get him to make it 4th and 1, and a pass on 4th down was way too low. Southern had held. But the Eagles couldn't get out of the hole and punted it back to the Vandals, and like an in-law invasion for the holidays, here they came again. Steve Nolan to Scott Dahlquist, these 2 guys making football music like Rodgers and Hammerstein. But all good things must come to an end, and this was classic. 2nd and 6 on the GSU 30, Nolan fires in the flats to Casey Dunn. Kevin Whitley in hot pursuit, stripping down to the ball, and like finding the Hope Diamond, number 10 Mark Giles scooped it up and found himself with more blue-shirted escorts in a police academy movie. And though one guy took a swipe at him, Mark regained his balance and went on to pay dirt to give the Eagles a 7-0 lead with a 76-yard touchdown run.
Well, I'll tell you what, all the credit goes to Kevin Whitley on that play. Dunn caught the ball out in the flats, and Kevin hit him. He hit him hard, and the ball popped out, and I saw the official standing there, and he wasn't whistling the play down, so I knew the ball was live. Just went over there and picked it up and took off down the sideline, and there was only one guy there that could tackle me, and he was kind of overrunning me, so I decided to cut against the grain. And when I did, he missed me, and I looked, and there was nothing but blue shirts. So I knew I was going to make it if I could just keep my feet. I just kind of staggered in the end zone. It really felt great to make that play.
Tell me, if for a split second there with the new rule this year, normally all you do is fall on that thing. There might be an initial reaction to just to pounce on it.
Nah, I saw Rodney do it earlier this year. I thought, man, it'd be great if I could do that this year. So I got my chance, and it worked out.
Did it ever. Meanwhile, back at the war zone, second verse, same as the first. Nolan to Dahlquist, 9 yards to begin the second period. And on 3rd and 2, same combo for 8 yards before Sean Maxwell could stop him. Then a costly error. Nolan goes to, surprise, wide open Casey Dunn. All alone for what looked like a sure tying touchdown. Red bandana flapping in the breeze and all, but there were gold flags, a much prettier sight to Eagle fans back upfield. The Vandals were guilty of holding. Then, thanks to Steve Busceletti, who dropped Nolan for a 7-yard loss and another holding call, the Vandals faced 3rd and 27 from the Eagle 45, which didn't seem to give them much of a problem all day. Nolan calmly dumped it off to Yo Murphy, who got back 18 yards of it to bring up 4th and 9 in time for Thane Doyle to come on to attempt a 44-yard field goal. It was off to the right, and the 7-0 lead was intact momentarily. An 8-yard run by Joe Ross through the middle looked mighty good. But 2 plays later, a pitch to Carl Miller looked anything but. The Vandals had the ball at the Georgia Southern 35, and an already overworked defense was back on the field. Still, no excuses.
They're gonna take exactly what you'll give them, and we didn't play much man. We played a lot of zone, and they just biggest part, we had a couple of missed assignments. We had a good game plan, but we just had a couple of mental breakdowns. But once we had one mental breakdown, we'd all come together and fight and work things out.
It's frustrating. They were moving the ball real good in the second quarter, third quarter. And, their type of offense, it's going to give up, or take what the defense is going to allow. And we were allowing, I guess, a little 5-yard, 6-yard pass. And, they utilized that, and they did a great job. Combination draw, pass, and,
We know, and we began to see Roman Carter in our secondary so much, he may have earned a letter Saturday afternoon. 10 yards on 2nd and 2. Then a toss to Dahlquist. 12 more. 1st and goal at the Southern 5. Took only one play from there. Mr. Carter swept right and tight and touchdown. 7-all. But those who give can also take. And when Southern got the ball back, the Eagle Express showed the Vandals our Air Force had a pretty potent arsenal as well. The Gross to Sorrell combo. We used it twice on our first touchdown drive of the day, nor were we afraid to use our nuclear capability. 2 plays later, it was bombs away. Sorrell had defender Charlie Oliver burned, roasted to a golden yellow, and it was positively glorious. 69 yards in 3 plays, consuming 59 seconds. Federal Express topped this.
So I felt like I could get past him, I just asked Coach to just throw it deep to me one more time, and he did. Unfortunately, it paid off again.
I was hoping they were going to go deep to you maybe 1 or 2 more times.
Right. The main thing is to stay patient. With a running offense, a lot of people might keep forgetting that we are running offense, and when the pass is there, we're going to throw it.
Well, all they got to do basically is get it up in the air and Terrence will go get it. So as long as I don't overthrow him, I got a pretty good chance of getting a touchdown on any pass you throw to Terrence, deep. So, I laid it up and Terrence just ran by him, and it's not too many people that can hold Terrence.
And you can take that to the bank. And no sooner had the defense held, like when Paul Sickley and Mike West stopped this little running play here to Roman Carter. Then the Eagle Express hit the track at full speed again, starting with Rodney Oglesby's punt return. A nice 15-yarder where the Southern offense began their second touchdown drive of the afternoon in good field position at their own 41. On first down, Raymond and Terrence teamed up on the Vandals once more for 23 yards, down to the enemy 21. Then 2 Raymond Gross keepers at the 11. Raymond went 8 on 1 right up the middle to the 3. And on the next play, he circled to his left and was touchdown bound. 21-7 GSU with 53 seconds to go. That gave the explosive Vandal offense too much time. They came roaring back upfield, missed a 54-yard field goal with 3 seconds to go, but the Eagles were offside, so Thane Doyle got another crack at it from 49, and with no time on the clock, made it 21-10 at intermission. And we'll be right back after this. The Vandals proceeded to pick up where they left off in the first half, a rampage of 17 unanswered points, starting with Steve Nolan's pitch to Roman Carter, who kept Roman for 12 yards. On 3rd and 8 from their 41, Nolan went back up top to you-know-who, Scott Dahlquist. Everything worked. Like this, Nolan's little lob off to Carter just before he got decked by Paul Sickley, and Carter got 20 yards to the Eagle 25. Carter took a pitch on the next play, 21 more yards before Kevin Whitley could stop it. Thank goodness this guy was a substitute. Can you imagine the damage he could have done if he'd been good enough to be a starter on this team? On 3rd and goal, Nolan made it look easy, zipping it right over the middle to Casey Dunn, red bandana and all. 21-17 GSU. It looked like it might be that kind of an afternoon. But if you thought that was quick, the next time the Vandals got their hands on the pigskin, which was 6 plays later, it was blitzkrieg time. On first down, though, freshman Sean Austin almost came up with the big prize. He had Dahlquist covered like a blanket, and Nolan threw it right to him. Had he hung on, it might have prevented this. 4th play of the drive from the Eagle 49, Nolan dropped back and with enough time to read the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, dropped this rainbow right in Scott Dahlquist's hands as he scored for a 24-21 lead, and in the process setting a Paulson Stadium record for receptions and yardage. It was becoming a long afternoon for the Southern defense.
Well, we're in good condition, but we really don't want to play that many snaps. We got to do a better job of going 3 and out, but we gave up a lot of yards, but we held them to 27, and they've been averaging 48 under the quarterback that's in there now. So we were pleased with that, but we got to do a better job of shutting them down early and let our offense stay out on the field a little bit longer.
This team came in here today, and teams that talk a lot of trash before the game sometimes don't wind up doing very well against Georgia Southern.
Well, they played well, but, maybe that was the edge that we needed was, the comments that the coaches made, and that was up on a bulletin board and gave us some motivation. As far as I know, that could have been the edge that helped us make the play. So we appreciate any time a coach can do that for us.
I would have thought that we were going both ways today because we were out there a long time. And after that first defensive play when we ran the touchdown off the fumble, it seemed like forever to be out there.
Yeah, we spent a good portion of the time out there, but that wasn't our offense's fault, I don't think. Our defense, we'd get them third and long or 3rd and short, and it seemed like they'd just come up with a play somehow. And it seemed like they weren't moving down the field, but yet they were having the ball out there all the time. They're just an awesome team. It's not like anyone was letting down at all. It's just that they were executing. And, when an offense like that's hitting, it's hard to stop.
The best way to kill an opponent's momentum is to answer in kind. And so it happened for Georgia Southern Saturday, beginning with Carl Miller's 24-yard kick return to begin the drive at the 28. During the proceedings, there were a pair of back-to-back 10-yard pass plays. On 3rd and 4, keep possession down. They fired to Carl Miller. Another pass went to Darrell Belzer. And Train, hoping he wasn't playing his last game in Paulson Stadium, took another pitch and went 12 yards around the left end. The Eagles were down to the Vandals' 29. 3 plays later, Alonzo McGee was one step away of breaking this one for a touchdown. And a gutsy 3rd and 6 call at the UI9 as Raymond fired to Carl Miller in the flats on a modified screen pass, and he headed for the promised land. With Mike Dow's point, it was 28-24 GSU. Notice the blocking of our two Darryls on the corner. Darryl Belzer taking out Charlie Oliver. And then Darryl Hopkins with a vicious hit on defensive back Terry Green, clearing the path to the end zone for Carl. And let's try to imagine how Carl might have described the action if he were calling this one himself. Hi, I'm Train. This is my brother Darryl. This is my other brother Darryl. And this is my touchdown run. Y'all going to lose.
It was a gutsy call, and I feel very proud that the coaches had faith in me to make that call. And it was a pretty good run, but I think I had some great blocking. Darryl Belzer came down on a strong safety, and I hesitated a split second, and then a blur came across my face, and Hopkins wiped him out, and I went on into the end zone. So it was easy again with Darryl Hopkins and Darryl Belzer leading me around.
It's been a pretty successful play for us this year. It's just a quick pass, kind of like a screen using the wide out and the A-back, and it's been a big play for us this year, and Carl is just exceptional once he catches the ball, and he makes people miss it, and he did that time, and it was great blocks by Hop and Darryl Belzer to get him in the end zone.
But with the fourth quarter still to play, everyone knew Southern would need more points. Fortunately, we were wrong, while Roman Carter continued to have Eagle stew for lunch. All were praying we could stop this guy, and Giff Smith looked for a moment like he might provide the answer when Steve Nolan took just a little too long to throw on this play. You, Steve. Steve. Here comes Giff. But then on 3rd and 9, we got a 16-yard dose of this Roman guy again on a draw play that worked to perfection. But on 2nd and 7 from the Southern 17, we did finally stop Mr. Carter. Giff Smith, Alex Mash, and Curtis Gordon converged on him 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's such a rarity. Let's enjoy this one again. The Vandals had to settle for a field goal, 28-27. And when the Eagles failed to make a first down again, Terry Harbin helped out with a 62-yard punt that went out of the end zone. We all thought we knew what was coming. It seemed written in the stars. On 3rd and 13 from their own 17, Nolan does it once more, escaping Steve Busceletti and completing a pass to Chris Taylor for 26 yards up to the 43. But at last, the poltergeist of Paulson Stadium started to act up just when it looked darkest. 2nd and 9 from the 29, the Nolan to Dahlquist combo that had been so deadly all day long was diffused by Jim Mutiner, knocking the ball loose, and then it was the maddest scramble since the Oklahoma land rush. Somehow, Gene Hayes came up with it for the Eagles. But still, with over 2 minutes to go, could Southern hold on? Yes. Watch Raymond work his magic just one more time for 29 yards. And it was all over but the shouting. And there was plenty of shouting. By the skin of our teeth, 28-27, the Eagles lived to fight another day. Oh, joy, Central Florida again. And Coach Stowers will have final comments in a moment.